Hello, Dutchman Creek families, students. This is Principal Moton here. I'm driving on the campus of Dutchman Creek. Just want to give you a very brief demonstration of our car line. It's going to be operated just a slightly bit different for those of you who are returning. And so I turned on Mount Gallant Road, and I'm currently riding on the right side. You have two pretty easy to see lanes. So if you are going to exit and make a right on Mount Gallant, we ask you just to stay on the right side. And then if you're going to exit and you're going to make a left on the back on the Mount Gallant, we ask you to stay on the left side. So as you come around, then our drop off for students who are car riders is right at the front of the school. One of the things that we're going to ask differently this year is that since we're trying to control the environment, if we want to have a fighting chance of making it through the school year in a cold environment, typically students are dropped off maybe before 7:45, depending on whether or not families have to get on the road and get going in the morning time. But I'm a strongly ask that you please do not drop off your student before 7:45. That's really important, because what we're going to do is make sure that all students come in and they go to their location and we can maintain social distancing. That's really important, because here in the front, there's an area where students would typically congregate right before our 7:45 duty. But if you would, just keep your students in the vehicle. Either myself or Mr. Kirk Robinson will come out, and then we'll let you know when it's okay to let your child out, and then walk to the front door and enter the school. Again, it may cause some inconvenience. I know that we have working families that, you have to get maybe to Charlotte early in the morning, but as much as possible, we want to make sure that we do not have students unattended in the front area, just hanging out, and then we run the risk of possible contamination or the passing of COVID-19. Heaven forbid that anyone has it, but that just reduces the risk. And what we want to do is be able to maintain the in-person school environment as much as possible. So we appreciate your adherence to that as much as possible. Again, I strongly recommend do not drop your students off and then just drive off. I will be out front, or Mr. Kirk Robinson will be out front on duty to help you guys out and to make sure that you can see us and we get the students in and we keep them at a safe distance from each other. And again, with the goal of making sure that we can sustain coming to school for face-to-face a little bit longer than what you've seen in some areas where in 2 days they have to shut down because they're not very mindful of the environment. And so again, if you are on the right side, we're going to ask that you do not crisscross traffic, dropping off on the right side and then going across to the left to try to get out, or the same thing on the left side and then trying to cut a vehicle off on the right side just to exit on the right. We have the cones here separating the two sides, but out of courtesy for your fellow Gators, we're asking that if you're going to exit to the right, then you just stay on the right side, drop your child off, and then exit to the right. Same thing if you're going to the left, then you're going to do to the left. And so that is our car line. Now, we also have another entry onto the campus off of Museum Road that we designate for the carpool. And so, as many of you as possible, if you could, please consider carpooling. That will help us out with our traffic. We have Mount Gallant Elementary that's right up the street, and oftentimes with the red light being pretty close to our entry, the traffic can back up. But you can help us out by carpooling with someone. So if you're on Museum and you turn to the right where it says bus service entry only, you're allowed to come in, and the first immediate right is where you're going to find the carpool. So we'll take a right and we'll go past C building and just keep going. Stand on the right side and you'll see the sign that say keep right, make the right, and it's basically a circle. So you'll circle through the parking lot. And this is where you'll drop your students off for Carpool. This sidewalk will wrap around B building, and that's where the students will come in and enter through the front. And so again, if you could, please, 7:45, you'll hear an announcement from Ms. Katurba that say that you may not enter the building. So Carpool people, if you would, 7:45, the students, the moment they turn that corner, I will have eyes on them. So you don't have to worry about them being unattended or out of sight. As soon as they turn that corner right on B Hall, I'll have sight on them, myself or Mr. Robinson, and then we can get them into the entry. And then what you would do is just circle on through. Again, staying on the right side, one-way traffic. Drop your student off. And then you will exit on back to Museum Road. Procedures are very similar whenever you pick up in the afternoon. The one thing that we ask you to be aware of is that this lot, which is between C and B, is not dedicated to Carpool. So we want to make sure that we always use the lot that is between C and B building. There are special occasions where I may designate a pass for someone to be picked up in this particular lot, but we have one lot, and that is to make sure that we don't have cross traffic and people cutting each other off. And again, to kind of maintain some security and control while the students exit the campus safely. So, thank you for that. If you have any questions whatsoever about our call procedures, then feel free to reach out to either me or one of the M&Ms, Mr. Motler, Ms. Mays, or Ms. Miller, and we'll help you out. When you come next week and the weeks afterwards, then we ask that you show courtesy and respect to our fellow Gators. We do a really good job as a school community of looking out for each other. I know that one of the things that we will experience is some delayed traffic, maybe the first week, maybe the first couple of days, but hopefully not as much as we've had in the past, simply because we're only going to have half of the population that are showing up face-to-face coming. So that should help us out. But again, thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Go Gators.